We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 185. Today we're going to talk about the World Series. My Dodgers game 1 starts in an hour. My NFL picks of the week. Me staying home and skipping the Bay 101. And whatever else you want to talk about. Mouthpiece is next. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. So we have a Friday afternoon podcast because my man Danny's leaving town tomorrow so he won't be home till 9 o'clock on Sunday night, and I got a Halloween party to go to tonight. Not feeling the greatest, but we'll get through it. I skipped the Bay 101. I canceled on Monday. I woke up Sunday with this new pain in my knee. It felt like a piece of cartilage was broken off inside my knee. And I thought maybe it was because I didn't sleep well. So then I didn't panic or anything. I got a good night's sleep. Woke up Monday and walking through my house, same thing. And I started thinking to myself, wow, if I'm dealing with this much pain and how am I going to win a tournament over 5 days? And so probably buying in for 2 bullets, that's 10,500 plus a room, plus airfare, that's 11,000. And if I don't think I could win, I don't want to go down. And what can I do with 11,000? Well, I could go to the World Series for at least 2 of the 3 games with somebody. And so I elected to hopefully take the weekend easy and go to Game 3 of the World Series on Monday and maybe Game 4, depending. So I was looking at tickets. You can actually get decent tickets, like good seats, for around $2,000 a piece. A little bit more expensive than it was 8 years ago, but they're pretty decent. So if you don't think you could win and you're going to spend $11,000, why go? Because I know my body. I just don't think I could play 12 hours a day for 5 days. And then so I just followed my gut. And I hated missing that tournament. It's the juiciest tournament ever because they satellite everybody in. And when you're a bounty, everybody comes after you. So they call you so light. And it allows you to get a hold of chips. But I just had to follow my gut. And I want to go to the World Series. I missed it last year. I was supposed to go to Game 6. The Dodgers won in 5. So there you go. That's why I missed it. If you don't think you could win, I could go to all the Dodger World Series games for same price, or if not less. So I elected to do that. Last week, sorry guys, we went 0-2, but actually we went 1-2 because I did give you guys Indianapolis over the Chargers, and my 2 best bets, the Titans, which never had a chance, and the Texans, which never had a chance. Well, I was right about the Texans defense. I said they are a top 2 or 3 defense. They got every fucking point off their defense. Fucking 4 turnovers, a strip sack in the fucker for a touchdown. Too bad the coach of Houston is the worst coach in the history of... No, he's the second worst beside Aaron Glenn of the Jets. We'll talk about these private games here in a second. Yeah, if you guys watch that game on Monday night, this fucking idiot had first and goal at the 1 and didn't quarterback sneak it once. He ran 3 pass plays. Then somehow gets the ball back and almost doesn't score again. But then with 2 minutes and 4 seconds and them down 8 points, and he has one timeout left, it's the same thing that happened in week 1 against the Bears and Vikings. You have to kick the ball out of bounds. They get the ball at the 40. You have the 2-minute timeout and one other timeout. And then you could get the ball back with 1:20 and have a chance. Or you onside kick it. This idiot kicked it to the guy who ran it out of the end zone, and that is like a turnover, and the game is over. These coaches are absolutely horrific. He is so bad. Even when I told you I love the Texans, I said I worry about DeMarco Ryan because he's a terrible offensive coach. And boy, that offensive line was bad. But I had the wrong side of both games last week. So we're now 11-3 on the Fade Us Sports Podcast. We are now, we went 1-2 here last week. So that puts us at 13-3 here. I'm sorry, 12-3 here. We were 12-1 here. So yeah, 13-3 here. So I have my my games for the week. I'm a little bit worried about my Dodgers. I think Toronto doesn't strike out much, and they could get into the Dodger bullpen, which sucks. And I think it's going to be a long series. Now, I did bet Dodgers and under tonight. I think the teams having a week off is going to affect the batters. The pitchers should dominate. So I bet the under straight, and I bet a parlay Dodgers and under. Now I do think I do think tomorrow Toronto's going to split, and they're going to be 1-1 coming back to LA. So if I'm going to bet Toronto in the series, I'm going to wait and see if the Dodgers win tonight, and then all of a sudden you get like 4-1 or something. So I really think the Dodgers could struggle in the series. Now Vesia is out for the series, the most important guy in the 7th and 8th, and they already don't have anybody in the 7th and 8th. So we'll see what happens. So the whole story is about rigged private poker games. I have played with NBA celebrities in poker games, but the ones I've played in are pretty much nothing to worry about. Now, like I said, it's so funny. People are like, wow, I don't know what's worse, that this all happened or the fact that we have to admit that Berkey was right on something, which is pretty funny because I love Berkey to death. Great guy. But he's been wrong on so many things that it's kind of tilting. But, you know, he called this out in 2023. You know, it makes sense. The crazy part about it is if you kind of look at how some of this cheating's been going on, it makes you really wonder, and I've been saying this forever, that we have got to pass rules with no face covering, no sunglasses, no face coverings at all. And I don't want to accuse anybody of cheating or anything, but I mean, it's poker, man. Just read your opponent. Look them in the eyes. If you're worried about giving something off, well, then train yourself not to. Because I've seen sunglasses where I've put them on my face and I click on a button on the left side or whatever, and it records everybody at the table. And so I could literally record like 15 minutes of watching everybody and watching how they act to their hand. And then I could find tells on them because I'll just keep going over and over and over. Now, I usually find tells on them anyways without that. But the fact that they have sunglasses that could go bring you right to the internet and record shit, we've got to get rules and things overturned where nobody can have face covering, sunglasses, or anything. We just do. You know? I wear them because I like to look at people that are really good players and try and get tells on them. But I'd be more than happy to never wear them. You know what I mean? So hopefully that can get changed. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, what people right now are making big mistake of doing is they're like, oh, yeah, look at this Portland Trailblazer game. Look at that. Oh, I know they cheated. Oh, I know they cheated. Well, that's bullshit because they are not under – Chauncey Billups is not under investigation for any point shaving or cheating in the NBA. He was only arrested for the cheating going on in poker games. So now Rozier was, and the funny part about it, if you look at what's his name, Windhorse, I saw his interview this morning. Like we knew about Rozier with the under points, rebounds, and whatever 2 years ago. He was, and this goes to show you how corrupt the NBA is they looked through it all and said they found nothing wrong. Well, they found nothing wrong, but the FBI found everything wrong. So you have to ask yourself, well, this was so big that the NBA had to cover it up. And they said there's, 30 other players under investigation? Yeah, prop bets are a big problem. Now, there's been videos of people on the bench like whispering about the line, and then the guy hits a three and they're like, wow, right? There's, I don't want to name any names, but I've been somewhere in the last 15 years on the floor of NBA games, and they all know the spread. I mean, there was somebody I was with in 2010 and was on the floor, and he told Andrew Bynum, remember, you guys can't win by more than 8. The line's 8.5. And he started laughing. Yeah, I got you, bro. I just remember it. I don't want to talk about it, name any names or anything, but they all know the spreads. And if you really think about it, what's the only sport that you could actually shave a point here, point there, or propositions here or there? Is the NBA, because you have 5 starters and you have, maybe they play 10 deep. A lot of teams play 8 deep, but during the season they probably play 10 to 12 deep or whatever. And it's just too easy to do. This is going to be really big. This is just the start of it. I mean, when the FBI says that they've arrested Rozier and Damian, and they're checking out 30 others, they know what they're doing. They know. And listen, don't think that the FBI and Trump's DOJ didn't decide to drop the bombshell on opening day of the NBA. They knew exactly what they were doing. Okay. And listen, what's going on is not political. This actually happened, and there's going to be a lot of heads fall for it. But if you don't think that they picked opening day for this bombshell to inflict pain on the NBA, then you're just stupid. I hate to say political, but it's just a fact, I mean, think about when Trump was in office, 2016 through 2020, and what's the only pro teams that skipped the White House visit? The NBA, right? The NBA called him racist and blah, 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 and said a lot of bad shit about him. So if you don't think that, like I said, all this is real, but there's for sure was released opening day to inflict max pain. There's just not a doubt in my mind. Oh, God. I'm Trump giving himself $230 million. No, Trump ain't giving himself anything. It's all fake news. He said, I am going to sue the New York Times for $230 million. He goes, I don't want any of it. I will take the money and give it to charity. So, again, you watch your fake news and you listen to what you want to hear. I don't want to hear about Trump because you're not going to change my mind. And there's a lot of things that he's doing is great, and there's things he's doing I don't like. So that's it. But yeah, when you say, "Oh, Trump pardoned George Santos," why don't you go look up who Biden pardoned when he left office? Okay, he literally pardoned 5 people who committed murder against FBI agents, and then like some other convicted murderers that like. So stop with the Trump pardoned George Santos and go look at who your boy pardoned. I want to hear it. Okay, you can't just like one way or not the other. It works both ways. Okay, our political system is kind of a joke. It's pretty disgusting. I don't want to talk about it. But let's talk about what do we talk about? Let's talk about this. So I think that when they say they're investigating 30 others, I do know a ton of basketball players that play private games, that play a lot of poker, and I don't know if they talk sports or lines or anything because I've only been to like 1 or 2 games with some basketball players. But listen, even last year, you remember the video of Draymond Green saying the line's 5.5 during the playoffs, and it came out on video, and he got reprimanded about it during the playoffs. I'm just saying they know the line, so the NBA's got a problem. The NBA's got a problem. Yeah. Listen, I've known about the card shufflers since 2019. The glasses I've known about forever. I don't know. Like the whole mob thing doesn't make sense to me. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me. Do I think that Chauncey was at games that were rigged? Yeah. Do I think that he knew anything about it? I would doubt it, honestly. But you never know. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. But we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of names fall. And but the NBA brought this on themselves. Like, did you see the interview? I think it was with Adam Silver like 3 days ago, talking about we need to get our gambling partners to stop putting. They wanted to have prop bets on players taken down because they felt it's too easy to manipulate. I mean, that was just because he knew this was all coming out. That's why he announced that 3 days ago. The worst part of the whole thing, honestly, is them going over the entire thing. Just remember, the bells and whistles went on in 2023, 2 years ago, when the hundreds of thousands got bet on the prop bet of Rozier under. Then the NBA cleared him last year or the beginning of this year. Maybe I think it was March of 2025, or I think it was. Maybe it was the year before. I lose track of time. So the worst part is the NBA knew about it and knew how big a story it was going to be, so they squashed it and said he was cleared, no wrongdoing. And what do they always say? The cover-up is worse than the crime. I think that's the worst thing, is the cover-up is worse than the crime. And so, I mean, this could be a really big dagger for the sports betting world, because I mean, there's a reason. I've said this many times. Why does ESPN, who promotes ESPN bets, who promotes sports gambling, who promotes bad beats on Monday, but they never show bad beats of any pro sports? They did show the bad beat of the San Jose Shark Vegas on week 1, which was almost as bad as the Arizona Titan game. But they don't show bad beats because shit happens that you ask yourself, what did I just witness? Let's go back to the Giants in Denver last week. Like, what did we witness? How could we witness what we just witnessed? This game was 19-0. This game was 26-8 with 5:14 to go in the game. They score a touchdown. You know the whole thing. Get 2 points. It's now 20. It was 19-8. Then it was 25 because they missed the extra point to 8. When the score was 25 to 15 to 16. 26 to 16. When the score is 26 to 16, so it was 26 to 8. But when they got the other touchdown, a 2-point version, the score is 26 to 16. They're up by 10. The Giants ran the ball twice, call timeout, 5:14 to go. Now they run the ball. If they don't pass the ball and they run the ball again, we have 5:04 to go with no timeouts. That's if they don't get the first down on 3rd and 5 and they punt the ball. If they punt the ball and they get them pinned inside the 20 with 5 minutes to go and no timeouts, for Denver to have a chance down 10, they would need to score a field goal or a touchdown within a minute and 20 seconds so they could punt the ball or they could kick off. They have to have at least 3 minutes and 50 seconds. It's 40 seconds, second down, 40 seconds. So that'd be a minute and 20. 3 minutes. So they basically have a minute and 10 seconds to score, or else they're going to need an onside kick. And this coach, he gave away the Dallas game, letting them get a field goal in 20 seconds. And he gave away this game. Like they're like 90% going to need an onside kick if he runs it on 3rd down and doesn't get a first down. And what does he do? He throws a pick. They get first down at the 10-yard line. They score in like 8 seconds. It's a 3-point game. And now they have the whole 2-minute warning and a timeout. And you saw what happened. They don't need to throw it, you know? 5 yards ends the game, but they're up by 10. It's not a one-possession game. You think, go look at how many teams have scored 2 scores with no timeouts and under 5 minutes left in the game. Go ask yourself that. If he just runs it and punts, they got the ball with 4:58 at their own 10. Who knows? Maybe they pin him at the 1. Let's just say they pin him inside the 10. They've got to go to kick a field goal. They're going to have to go at least 50 yards in a minute and 10 seconds with no timeouts, and then they have to kick the field goal right away. But, once they're moving and stuff and they get it down at like the 30 or 25 with 3:40 to go or 3:10 to go, they're going to try and get a touchdown because they're stupid. I mean, I don't even understand it. Not really. The Eagles are bad. Like, we thought the Eagles had fixed their offense last week. Then we watched how bad the Viking defense was versus the Chargers yesterday. And now I am not convinced that even the Eagles are fixed. I I love the Giants this week, by the way. After I think the Giants crushed them once and think they'll crush them again. Yeah, Denver scored 2 touchdowns. They had they had timeouts. They flew by. They flew by them. Yeah, 0-0-0-33. That's just insane. 33-point quarter. It's not real. It's not possible. And then so Greenlaw got suspended this week for Denver for going after the refs after the game. And guess what? Rightfully so. For that ref to call pass interference at the 2-yard line when the guy turned around and made a play at the ball, never touched him, to give the Giants the lead, which looks like they were going to win, was one of the worst calls I'd ever seen in my life. No, I never did play poker with Chauncey. I played with Paul Pierce. Wow, that's all I got to say. After Arizona lost that Titan game, that Denver Giant game, these are like 3 games. He gave away the Washington game last year, if you guys remember. Dable has no idea about clock management. He has no idea. It's just they have no timeouts with 5 minutes to go if you run the ball and you punt. Now, you could get 5 yards easily. Scadaboo's pretty good. But let's just say you don't and you punt the ball. Again, we have 5 minutes to go, so you'd have to have any chance, they'd have to score a field goal or a touchdown in 1 minute and 10 seconds. So chances are they would have to kick a field goal with 3:40 to go in the game because they punted it at the 5-minute mark. And then kick it deep and you'll get the timeout, the 2-minute timeout, and even then you'll get it back with 1 minute and 20. And you need a touchdown with no timeouts. That's if you score in 1 minute and 10 seconds. So all these people saying, you got to throw to end the game. No, the game's over. Just run the ball and punt. I never played with Jimmy Butler, so I don't know. Anyways, these coaches are so stupid. The coach of fucking Houston, I've said it all year. He's the great defensive coach. This guy has 0 clue how to coach a football team. 0. The ending of that game, how about the fact that they ran the ball twice? They ran the ball twice, and first of all, they should have gone quarterback sneak on the first time around. Well, how about the coach of Seattle? He's throwing the ball up 2 scores. All he has to do is run the ball 3 times and fucking punt it. Seattle acted like they were down 2 scores. The other team acted like they were up 2 scores. Houston just took their time, ran it up the middle on the, I don't even get it. And Seattle's throwing the ball like they're down 2 scores. These coaches are so bad, bro. Anyways, I think the Eagles suck. And if the Giants could get over the loss last week, which I think they will, the Giants are going to win again. And they're definitely going to cover 7.5. The Eagles ain't fixed anything. The Eagles have been dog shit for 6 games. They were life and death and could have. If Wentz just was decent last week, they would have beat the Eagles. And you saw how bad the fucking Viking defense was. Well, they gave up 37 yesterday. They just gashed them throwing the ball. Well, that's why Hurts looked so good last week. It's not. Philly's not fixed. They played a fucking secondary that's fucking broken. Okay, well, we don't need to keep talking so much football. So let's go with football this week, okay? Before we talk about my Dodgers and the World Series. I have made 3 bets. I actually liked the Vikings yesterday until I saw that the Chargers got their offensive line back for the first time since week 2, and the right tackle was going to be out for the Vikings, and the left tackle was going to play. Well, the left tackle, who had been injured and played, re-injured himself And the right tackle didn't play, so they had no tackles. Ended up winning yesterday. I bet really small, like $500 teaser and parlay Chargers and over. Then yesterday I had like what I thought was my best bet of the year. There'll never be a bet this good, which was OKC missing 3 starters, playing Indy on the road, coming off a double overtime win in game 1. And Indy, you knew, was going to play so hard. They wanted to win for the fans so bad because they lost game 7 to OKC. And I had first quarter Indy, I had game Indy, and I had money line Indy. And I should have won the money line Indy. And it went to double overtime, and I almost blew the plus 7.5. They ended up losing by 6 because their best player got knocked out of the game from injury, and they had 3 guys foul out of the game. But that was a spot that was waiting, that you might not get the rest of the NBA season. Now, there is a spot coming up. I haven't looked yet, but because Indy lost that game, and they went all in on that game to try and win for their fans, whoever they play, they probably don't play today, but they'll probably play tomorrow. Whoever Indy's playing, go against. Let's see what well, you guys could look it up. But for sure, after a double overtime and losing, there's going to be a big letdown. And Indy's missing a lot of players anyways. And whoever they're playing, I would lay the points or whatever it is in the next game. So, whatever. I don't bet NBA because it stands for no bank account. But there is spots that come up, and that happen to be one. I'm opposite. I'm Dodgers game 1, Jays for the series. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So my pick of the week in the NBA, in the NFL this week is a game that it's almost like last week. Like, are you insane, Mike? You bet on the Titans? Yeah, I was insane because if they couldn't cover with the Patriots on their 3rd straight road game, and they got out in front 10-3, and they looked like they were going to gash them all day. They were so bad in the second half. I just had the wrong side. But this week, I'm going with a worse team as my number 1 pick. My number 1 pick of the week is the 0-7 New York Jets, plus 7 against the pathetic 3-4 Bengals. You guys, the Bengals caught Pittsburgh in a division game on a short week on the road. Flacco has played against the Steelers a million times, and the Steelers defense sucks. We all know that. It looked good against the Vikings. Well, now we know why it looked good against the Vikings. The Vikings suck, and the Browns, they suck. The Jets have given up 13 points in back-to-back weeks. Their defense is fixed. If you look at their last 4 weeks, their defense has looked so much better. Well, what's their problem? Their offense. Okay, well, now they're facing the worst defense in the NFL. The Bengals have the worst defense in the NFL. Them and the Ravens and Miami are the 3 worst defenses in the NFL. The Bengals are rated the worst defense in the NFL. So you're getting 7 points with a desperate team. They're not like the Titans. They compete in games. They just suck. The coach is terrible. Aaron Glenn is the worst coach in the NFL. But their defense is playing well. And the Bengals have no offensive line, no run game. Forget what you saw last week. That was just Pittsburgh on a short week that just didn't show up. The Jets are going to show up because all week they've been hearing about it. You know, they're like, Tyrod Taylor is going to start in place of Fields. It doesn't matter. Like, any quarterback that's bad is going to look good against the Bengals. The Bengals' fucking defense sucks. Yeah, I figured Garrett Wilson was out. But that doesn't matter. Everybody that the Bengals have played this year, the Bengals have given up 30 to everybody. The only one they didn't give up 30 to was week 1 when they won 17-16 and were completely outplayed by Cleveland. They're terrible. Their defense is terrible. Anyways, I got 7. The line's down to 6.5. I cannot see the Bengals. being 7 points favored over anybody. I'm not saying they're going to win. I think they had a good chance to win because I think the Bengals are an atrocity. Their offensive line sucks. Their defense is the worst. Yeah, they got weapons. But Joe Flacco had 8 picks the first 3 weeks and got benched. Like, do you think the Bengals' offensive line is better than Cleveland? Their offensive line is terrible. Terrible. Anyways. Jets Dolphin moneyline parlay. Well, I hope you're wrong because I'm taking Atlanta in Survivor. I'll go to that in a second. Anyhow, my number 2 pick of the week is this is something you'll never see me do maybe 2 more times in the next 5 years. But I'm sorry. I laid the 14 with the Indianapolis Colts against the Titans. After I witnessed last week the Titans, right? They lost their 2 best defensive players late in the first half, which is probably why I lost that game. But they're both out this week. The offensive line stinks. Indianapolis is a juggernaut. They destroy bad teams. Every bad team they played this year that's 1-5 or 1-6, they beat by 30. I told you I had a dream in week 2 that they won the Super Bowl. I bet 36-1 and I got 80-1 on Danny Dimes to win MVP. The team is loaded. They have the best offensive efficiency of any team in this century. I don't know if you've seen that stat. They have scored on 63.9% of their drives. If the Titans couldn't compete last week, they are not winning another game. They have not competed in a game. Forget that they beat Arizona. They didn't compete in that game. The game should have been 28-6, a game over. All their scores were they're terrible. You know, it's funny. I think Survivor could get split a lot of ways because I do believe, like, I'm taking the Chargers next week against the Titans. And I already used Indy, so I can't use them this week. But Indy's going to destroy the Titans are so bad. They're so bad. They might be the worst team we've seen in the NFL in our lifetime. They might be worse than the 0-16 Detroit team because the 0-16 Detroit team, they competed in a lot of games and just lost. I mean, this team doesn't even compete. So I laid 14 with Indy, and I also laid 7 with Atlanta. It's up to 7.5 now. I could be a little worried because Miami could move the ball. But Atlanta has the number 2 ranked defense. And that's a fact. Their defense is great. Even last week when they lost 20-11, the defense was fantastic. And they have the number 2 running back in the NFL behind Taylor, Bijan Robinson. What is Miami, the worst team in the NFL at? Stopping the run. They gave up 124 to the 3rd string running back, missing 2 offensive linemen and the Chargers 2 weeks ago. Last week, they gave up 3 touchdowns and 84 yards to the running back of Cleveland when they knew Cleveland was going to run the ball 90% of the time, which they did. And they still couldn't stop him. They ain't going to stop Bijan Robinson. It could be a close game. I could be wrong laying the 7. I think the team's quit. I think the defense is horrific. And, so they're my Survivor pick this week. I don't think the worst running defense in the NFL is going to beat the second best rushing team in the NFL. Would I hope that Penix plays better? Yes, I'm very worried about it. I am worried about Penix, but I don't think he'll be throwing it much. I think Bijan Robinson will just have a field day. And that defensive front is terrible. Now, it is interesting to see if they get Stormy Duck back or not. That could help on the back end, but it ain't going to help their run defense. They can't. If they couldn't scheme to stop Cleveland's run defense in 40-mile-an-hour winds and torrential rain, how in the fuck are they going to stop Bijan Robinson? So, anyways, those are my picks. I got Indy for 2K. I have Bengals as my number 1 pick. The Jets as my number 1 pick for 2K. And I bet 1K on Atlanta minus the 7, and I took them in Survivor. Let's go to the World Series, guys. Well, let's take some phone calls and see who wants to call before the World Series starts. Let's go.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matusow on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live. 702-329-0480. Give us a call. 702-329-0480. Let's talk football. We can talk poker. The World Series. My Dodgers at 5:01, 5 o'clock today. Game 1 of the World Series. This is what I bet. I think, and it happened with Toronto and Seattle game 1. Seattle won 3-1. I think that the week off is going to hurt the bats. And so I think it favors the pitching. So I made these bets on the game. I have the Dodgers to win 500. I have my big bet is the under 7.5. And let's get this phone call first. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike, it's Tony from Philly. How's it going?
What's up, buddy? Tony from Philly. Guess what?
Yeah.
I don't think I thought your Philadelphia Eagles might have been fixed after last week, but after what I witnessed with the Vikings last night, I don't think they're fixed.
Oh, I think they're fixed. They just had a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover.
They had
they're not going to go undefeated or anything.
They had a 6-game Super Bowl hangover. They were 4-0. They should have been 1-3 or 0-4. They've been outgained in all 7 games. I actually thought they outgained the Vikings last week for the first time, but then I looked it up. They didn't. They've been outgained in all 7 games. The Vikings had a chance to win it. Wentz was just terrible. So I'm not convinced after last night, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they had a little bit of a hangover, and it looks like they're getting back on track. They're not going to have AJ this week.
Oh, AJ's out this week? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think the morale kind of got sucked out of the Giants after that loss.
Well, you would think so, right? But I watched Arizona take a loss way worse, and they went right into Indy, and they had a chance to beat them on the last play. And Indy, I think, is the best team in the NFL. So if they're coached correctly, they will be able to get over it. And I think this team, listen, the Giants are 2-5. They should, at worst, they should be as 3-4, right? If you look at the Saints game, if they don't have the turnover, ran back for a touchdown with a 14-point swing when the Giants were going in, they could be 4-0 at Jackson Dart. And this team believes in him. And they kicked the shit out of the Eagles 2 weeks ago. And with
I wouldn't say all that. But.
Oh, come on. The game was shouldn't even be as close as it was at the end. They kicked the shit out of them. The line must have had to move to 7 with no AJ.
It was a short week, and we were coming off a tough loss, so morale was kind of low.
Well,
they just caught us at the right time, but we'll get our revenge this week.
I'm betting $1,000 right now at plus 7.5 because you just told me AJ Brown was out.
But you might as well just light your money on fire.
The team ain't beat anybody by 7 this year, so why would they decide to all of a sudden beat somebody by 7?
Well, we're at home. We're getting Brandon Graham back. It's going to give a huge boost to the locker room.
How about the center? Is he back?
Carter?
No. The center. The offensive.
The offensive lineman.
Yeah, because that really hurts them a lot, according to my friend.
I think he's a game time decision, if I'm not mistaken. But I'd have to look.
I don't know. I mean, the Giants have been great since they put Jackson Dart in. So I would never. I don't think the Eagles are 7.5 points better than any team. So, but we'll see. You might be right.
Yeah. I think that they got a couple tough games coming up. I think they can beat Green Bay. Detroit, I think, will be a little bit of a toss-up.
If they weren't in the East, I don't even think they could win a division. I think they're terrible. So, but last week I took them because I thought the Vikings were worse. And after watching that game, I'm not so sure the Vikings were worse, even though they lost the game. I mean, Wentz was worse, but they gave up a lot of this. See what people don't understand about the Eagles? This is not the best defense in the NFL from last year. They lost 10 players off that team, including 5 starters. You don't replace 10 defensive players, and they had the best defense in the NFL last year. You know that, right?
Yeah. Plus Nolan Smith is out. That's a killer.
Yeah, I mean their defense just doesn't look right, and their offense hasn't looked right. Well, it looked right against Vikings, but after I saw Herbert light him up for 37 last night, I can't say their offense is fixed, right? That was a fucking beatdown. Oof.
Yeah, I know. I had Allen on my team, Keenan Allen, and they weren't throwing the ball at all.
They didn't have to. Think about that.
Yeah,
it goes to show you that everybody talks offensive line. That's what I don't understand about the Eagles. They returned all 10 offensive linemen from last year. Yeah, they got one guy out, but they've been pretty whole most of the year, and they can't run the ball. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I think something's up with Barkley, maybe. I don't know, man. And the Giants have an awesome defensive line. So
they really do.
That does have me worried a little bit.
The Giants' defense has been fantastic. You know, the only game they got lit up was against Dallas, but Dallas puts up 30 against everybody, except for the Bears.
Yeah.
Tell you what, the Bears are pretty sneaky. Another fucking 4 turnovers they got last week. They have 13 turnovers in like 4 games. Pretty scary.
Yeah, the Eagles got them coming up. I think that'll be a dub though.
All right, who do you like in the World Series? I'm gonna try and get some calls in here before we start.
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I'm not too big into baseball. I'm really mad about the way the Phillies ended.
Well, I mean,
I know you got
a tough series, bro.
Calls.
The Dodgers didn't have to win Game 4. I mean, to me, I think the Dodgers were very lucky to win that series. And listen, Philadelphia, I thought they were going to be the team to beat. I thought losing Wheeler was going to hurt them in a short series, and I think it might have. But the series was much closer than a 3-1. You know, that game a lot of things could have gone different.
Do you have time for a quick hand breakdown?
Yeah, go ahead. Hurry up.
Okay, cool. So I had position on a guy. I looked down at ace, queen of spades. We're playing 2-5. I made it 25. The guy just flatted. The flop came 9 of spades, 7 of spades, deuce of diamonds. Okay. The guy checked to me. I bet 75. He flatted. Okay. The turn card comes 3 of diamonds. Okay. He checked to me again. I'm sitting there thinking.
I'm betting.
Sitting there thinking, and then I bet. Was it 170? Mm-hmm. And he sat there thinking, and then he called.
Okay.
And then the river came, the ace of hearts. Mm-hmm. He checked to me again, and I bet 225. Mm-hmm. And he snap called.
Okay.
Right? I felt weakness from this guy.
I mean,
and he thought there were pocket deuces, but he was just playing scared. He thought I had a bigger set.
I was going to say I would just give up on the river if you don't catch an ace, queen, or a spade, but I would have played it the same way you did, and I would have lost what you did, except I would have lost maybe more because like he's supposed to check raise the river. He should have check raised you on the turn. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I would have been.
I might have check raised the flop. He check raises you on the flop, right? I mean, it's a tough hand to get away from, man. 2 hours of flush.
But he was like, I thought you had a set of 7s. That's the only reason I'm like, God, man, why do people play so weak when they have these hands?
Because they're pussies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, Mike. Good talking to you, brother.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks.
All right, later. All right. Let's get 15 minutes of calls in here. See if we can get in. 702-329-0480. We'll talk the World Series coming up. I just bet 1,000 on the Giants plus 7.5. I with AJ Brown, I don't think much of the Eagles. I think the Giants are good. I think they're a better team. To be honest with you. So anyway, so my bets are 2-team parlay for 500. Dodgers and under 7.5. I went straight on the under 7.5, and then Dodgers 500. Blake Snell strikeouts over 6.5. His last start against Toronto, he went 5 innings, had 10 strikeouts. He had 10 strikeouts his last game. Now Toronto doesn't strike out much, so I only went 500. Normally I would go 1,000, but they don't strike out much. And then I went with the Toronto pitcher under 5.5 strikeouts because the Dodgers contact the ball a lot. And that's it. So I have 2 $500 bets. Toronto pitcher under 5.5 strikeouts. Dodger pitcher over 6.5 strikeouts. Dodgers and under $500 money line parlay. Dodgers under 1K straight, and the Dodgers for 500. So whatever. I bet peanuts just going with my team. I think the 1 week off is going to hurt the offenses. The pitchers are used to having the time off. They're going to be grooved in. The offenses are used to playing every day. The Dodgers have played every day or had like 6 days off in 6 months, and now they just got a week off. And that offense was humming. That team was clicking. They're 26-6 the last 32, and now the offense gets 7 days off. I think it hurts them, and I think you get a low-scoring game tonight, but we'll see. The anthems were great. God, I wish I recorded it. So there you go. Yeah. Oh, and I talked about the pro. Yeah. Well, you know, I tell it like it is, man. One thing about me, I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat it. I ain't afraid to say anything about anything. I was talking to Daniel yesterday, asked, because he's from Toronto, he's always been a Blue Jay fan if he was going to the World Series, and he says he thinks he is, so I'm going to see what seats he gets and see if I get close to him. He'll probably be getting the best seats for, like, right there. Probably behind home plate for, like, $15,000 a ticket. But if he doesn't, I'll see where he sits. And the seats I was looking at are, like, I saw some really good seats for, like, $2,000 each. So, so I'm looking forward to that. 702-329-0480. We'll take another call or two before the World Series starts. I'm going to a Halloween party tonight at my friend Stu's, and God, I'm in a lot of pain sitting here, so I'm going to have to relax and get myself out of pain. I didn't play any poker this week at all. Played once last week, lost $3K. Just kind of been watching football and enjoying it, just chilling, and probably going to Seattle. I get that procedure done in 2 weeks. I'll let you guys know. It is so funny. Do you know that when the first term and Biden's term, the Democrats asked about the Epstein files exactly 3 times? Because if they had anything on Trump, they wouldn't have tried to fucking put him in jail with 34 indictments, trying to bankrupt his family. All they would have said is, there's the Epstein list. He's a pedophile. But people that are mentally retarded like Brandon, they just like, but MSNBC says Epstein files. So that's it. Because I can't think for myself. Anyways, actually, I'm dressing up as a pimp tonight. I got a purple pimp ass outfit. Should be fun. Not HCL. I canceled my trip to Bay 101 Shooting Stars because I just didn't think I could play 12 hours a day for 4 straight days. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Why won't Trump release it? Because, anybody with a brain will know this, okay? Let me tell you who's on the Epstein files, or who are in those things. A, Prince Andrews. Who's our number one trading partner? Britain. So they've been told not to release it because of that, number one. Welcome to the Mouthpieces, Mike.
Hey, Mike, how's it going, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. Hey, I got done with, watched 3 episodes of Beta Sports.
Yeah.
And I'm
pretty
hooked
funny,
on
right?
it, man. Yeah, it's a good show. I mean, just the whole, the first show, you guys were in the studio, and it was a good show. I thought the Woodley and Canto were a little nervous, but then they loosened up, and they were really good. And then the last 2 shows were excellent. I mean, it was wide open. You guys are like going at it, and it was like,
yeah. Well, you're dealing with retards, right? When you have like Cantu and Phil that just like they look at what they see, and then they're like they go right to them the following week. The NFL is a week-to-week league, so like they saw, oh my God, the Bengals were so great. Oh, Joe Flacco. Oh, my number one pick's the Bengals this week over the Jets. And I'm like, well, my number one pick is the Jets over the Bengals because did you forget what the Bengals looked like the 3 weeks before? Did they forget what Joe Flacco looked like for the Cleveland Browns for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
This was just a division game on a short week where Pittsburgh didn't show up. And the Jets defense plays good. I know their offense is horrible, but every offense has scored 30 against the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
Let me ask you, what do you like about the show, and what do you think needs to be improved?
I don't. I like it because it's not so hoity-toity. It's off the cuff, and you guys are giving honest opinions. You're not selling picks.
Right.
So you guys talk to a lot of people during the week. I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Woodley and Cantal have talked to a lot of people. Helmuth is really. He's really good on that show. I mean, he comes out. You come out really good. But it's just an idea. I was, I thought maybe bring a guest 5th guy in once in a while. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe
about it. We've been talking about bringing a few different guests on, and
I
do think once a month it's good to bring a guest on and shoot the shit with, and it's something we've been talking about. So I kind of think it can only help. You know what I'm saying? And we know a lot of smart bettors, and we know a lot of smart poker players, and there's lots of people we could bring on. So I like that idea a lot. Like I said, we call it the Feta Sports because we're not there saying bet what we pick. Like Cantu and Phil are straight squares. Woodley is actually smart, but he's got 3 kids now and a wife and 2 businesses, so he doesn't really have time to dig deep into it. And that's why you notice I come across as knowing what I'm talking about, because I'm putting in even though we have to record on Tuesday, like I'm putting every injury I could find from Sunday into writing them down and putting it in the computer and trying to figure out if they're going to play on this weekend. And then I kind of go with my instincts. What does my gut tell me? And last week I was completely wrong with 2 out of my 3 games. And
but I mean, you're the last couple of years you've been really hot, man. I hotter than any.
I put the time in. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like yesterday, right? I originally had liked Minnesota, and I'm like plus 3.5, and then I really spent like 2 hours before the game, and I saw the Chargers will have their full offensive line back for the first time since week 2. Well, if if you watch week 1 and 2, the Chargers looked like Super Bowl team on offense. They ran the ball great. They threw the ball great. And I said to myself, man, this team's going to move the ball. I said, even against the Indianapolis Colts, who I believe are going to win the Super Bowl and are the best team, they moved the ball pretty good in the second half. Like, they had a chance to cut that game to 7 with like 6 minutes to go last week, and the Colts made a good defensive stop, but they moved the ball pretty good. And they were still missing their 2 offensive line guys. And I just felt them getting them back with that. And then I thought about how the Eagles, who offense had been so bad all year, were able to get all those yards throwing the ball against them. I'm like, I got a feeling the Chargers might just light it up. And so once I saw the injuries, and then when I saw that Bryce O'Neal, the right tackle, was out for the Vikings, and my friend, and Woodley's a diehard Viking guy, he says he's an all-pro tackle. This is going to really hurt them. And then I saw Darrisaw was going to play, but he's like a little bit limited. And I said, man, so there's no right tackle, a limited left tackle there. And I said, you know what? The Chargers are the right side. And I flipped sides because I put in 2 hours work here. And then Darrisaw gets injured right in the first quarter. So they had no left tackle, no right tackle. And then you saw what happened. Wentz just got killed, right? But forget that Wentz got killed. Look how the Chargers lit up that defense, right? That makes the Eagles last week's win. That makes you say, well, the Eagles aren't fixed. They didn't light them. They scored. They did better than any other week this year, but it tells me the Vikings back end defense is a disaster, you know? So
Yeah, I watched the pregame on Amazon Prime, and you should have seen the look on. I mean, they were showing their faces on the Chargers, you know, as they were warming up. I mean, it was a long pregame show, and I could tell by looking at them. I honestly could tell by looking at them they were going to play good.
I did.
I just had it in me.
Too. I could tell too. I felt the same. I like,
you know, but
I'm so glad I switched sides here before the game even started. And so,
yeah, I got a crazy. You know, I'm like, you know, I've been studying poker, and you know, and so I'm just, you know, trying to get into this thing, you know, because But anyway, so. You know, I started. You know, I don't know. Have you ever heard of that replay poker? You know, it's all play money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they charge you $100 for 15 million chips. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And where's that?
And so people actually, you know. So anyway, they gave me. You know, I just saw this thing. I got on there, and they gave me 25,000 free chips, and that's all I had.
Yep.
Okay. And some of these people on there got like 15 billion chips in their bank account. I mean, it's crazy what they have. They got games 5, 10.
Some of these sites that you have play the free money site against, like bots. These bots are really good, and you will get better playing against some of these play money.
Yeah,
sites.
that's what. Okay, so anyway, I started out with 25,000 chips, okay? And I started out down at the 510, okay?
Yep.
And I've been at it for about 4 months. And this relay poker, they keep track of everything. I swear to God, everything. When you break into a game, you come out, they show your losses. And I ran this thing up, and I ran 25,000 in 4 months. I ran it up to 8.4 million.
Nice.
And so now I'm thinking I want to like edge into the real money thing. And, you know, I live up here in Mesquite, and I was just wondering how best do you think I need to edge into that?
Well,
like the 1-3 games.
Yeah,
What would your advice
be?
be?
You could join up with Club WBT Gold that I'm a representative of, and use my code MOUTH and start playing the small games on there. And I heard they're very juicy. But never risk more than 10% of your bankroll. Don't put yourself...
Right, okay.
You know, and I think that, well, I know the games are really good on there. And and check it out. And then next week, tell me how you did and what you thought about it, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right.
Wow, the Dodgers
I got
are 1-11
Toronto's going to win this thing.
World Series Game 1 history. Wow. I didn't even know that stat.
All right, I'll let you go, man.
All right, man. Have a good weekend, man. Thanks
All
for
right,
calling.
you too. Take care.
All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to watch my Dodgers in the World Series. Wow, 1-11. Lost on first row games on the World Series. Now I want to watch the World Series. My pick of the week is the New York Jets +7 against the Bengals. My second best pick. I'm laying the 14 with the dog shit Titans, who's against the best team in the NFL. Then I just made two small picks. I laid 7.5 now with Atlanta. I'm not so sure about that, by the way, but I think they win for sure. And I took the Giants +7.5. I was always going to take them, but when he said A.J. Brown was out, I couldn't stop myself. Go Dodgers. Dodgers and under tonight. Hopefully they win the World Series. I'm a little worried. I think it's going to be a long series, but let's hope we have fun and a good World Series. And I'll see you next week on the Mouthpiece.
The Mouthpiece.